So I got Tesla going into a free fall right now. Want to watch it go into a reversal? Check it out. There you go. Fighting against gravity. You remember how it's chips in Tesla? Without even having to look, I could promise you, if we go and check the chips and on the same exact time, they're gonna be moving in the same exact behavior because they're being moved for the same reason. So I'm stopping the free fall. And the way I'm doing that is by artificially inflating Litecoin. And then letting it feed back into Tesla. It was a video I did before, but I had a YouTube video playing, so my voice was like way over powered, so you couldn't really tell. But I already set up this whole situation just like the picture I showed you before. Alright, that should be enough. So we like obliterated the floor in the original video. It was here, and it was a matter of smashing it down to here, and it reacted very violently here. But every time you obliterate the floor, it creates this backdraft, because what happens is that right now it may look like Tesla's in discount territory, right? Because it's like -5%, right? But the whole goal of that is a scam. Any money that goes into Tesla right now would get arbitraged into LTC and then back and forth. So as soon as LTC gets high enough, it gets laundered out, and that's how the economy gets looted. So by breaking the floor, you basically destroy the whole entire mechanism of keeping the stocks afloat, which is how easy it is to sink the chips in Tesla set. But by reversing it and causing the LTC to go back up to its floor level, which is like pretty much opening up the valve, it's enough liquidity for the bots to go and feed back and create a feedback loop with Tesla, with watch sales, to cause Tesla to go back up. there are intermediaries in between, of course. Like Tesla right now is doing a tease. Like it will try, because as a contingency, if you do break the floor, then Tesla would then flip into a Dutch style where it will pretend to be in a discount, which then encourages people to buy it. But then any proceeds that goes into Tesla just ends up going into LTC, and then back and forth. It just kind of launders the money back and forth, because it's not just through Tesla, but it's through all the chip stocks. So there has to be like a lot of activity. The thing about doing this is that once people kind of know you're doing it, people start getting, aware that, obviously something's going on there. Anyone who's savvy to the game knows that, like, there's something going on whenever something's dropping that steep. So, like, the news talking about it, so they tend to want to play the game with you. But then, like, yeah, it's just whoever has like, more power over the frame, essentially. Let's see how it's going up right now. Watch. I'm gonna get it established first. Wow, it's really draining LTC. So it's going through a whole reset right now. But yeah, essentially LTC is the crypto market. Once it merged with the stock market, it allowed for just infinite watch sales. Crypto became an infinite source of momentum, and with bots that are able to transact between the two of them, it became an infinite source of inflation. So anybody who puts money into, say, Doge, the momentum gets transacted over to LTC, and then from LTC, that momentum gets transacted to the chips in Tesla section. And they all kind of have their own pathways, their own flow charts. If you crash BTC, you crash everything. If you crash Doge, you crash everything. So actually another way to do the same thing would actually be to go here. Let me actually switch it over. Just view Doge. Alright, let me switch over to Doge. Alright, and okay, there it is. Alright, yeah, so let's bring Doge back up, because Doge is actually momentum that feeds LTC. So let's drain Doge and toss it over to LTC, which is like a little quick vitamin shot. So we're bringing Doge back up right now. And Doge is designed to be a momentum pool for LTC. Right now, it doesn't seem like it's actually being used. When you see it being used mostly is when you start seeing all sorts of plateaus instead of sharp angles. So by dragging down LTC, it will take away from Doge. That's usually how it works. That's why Doge exists. That's why Elon promotes Doge, is because the momentum that goes into Doge is just easy to migrate into anywhere else, because people just, it's a very high volume coin because it's so cheap. So let's get Doge back up to a healthy state. I mean, crypto right now is just in a terrible state, but so I mean, it's like gravity is a lot easier than levity, but you could get Doge back up. And all the while, you see how like it kind of drags Tesla back up too? That's actually through the intermediary of LTC. It's that fast. But you have to keep in mind that it's not only Tesla, it's all the chip stocks too. It does a circuit across Tesla and all the chip stocks and rocket stocks. And basically anything that Tesla does, essentially, it tries to gain a monopoly over anything that Tesla does. So the Tesla pipeline covers chips first and foremost. That's why I always cite the same, Intel, Taiwan Semiconductors, AMD, and NVIDIA is one of them too. And then Tesla, obviously. But yeah, so that's another method of attack, is that you could use Doge. So by bringing Doge back up, what it does is you're basically forcing the momentum of Doge to feed into LTC. Because you know already that that's the whole purpose of Doge, is to basically loot it into LTC. And the whole purpose of LTC is to loot the economy. Okay, so that looks pretty good right there. Let's go and leave it alone, and we're gonna switch over to back over to LTC, and we'll finish off what we're doing over there now that that Doge is heading upward. So let's go and do the same thing here. Okay, switch back over. Okay. So right now it's still a Dutch auction. See, the momentum I just transferred from Doge. And that actually, once released, will feed its way throughout the whole Tesla and chips and Tesla circuit. So you can actually pump back and forth between Doge and LTC, because they both end up in the same place. Doge feeds LTC, so you could attack, you could attack Doge, or you could just attack LTC directly. It's pretty much the same thing. But sometimes it's just, if it's like, it's helpful to attack both. So once LTC gets back up to its floor, then the valve will open. That means that there's enough money that the exchange bots could use by selling LTC and then laundering through Tesla and the rest of the chip stocks and everything else that Tesla wants a monopoly over. And that's pretty much why Anonymous declared war on Tesla or Elon. It's because of this kind of BS. He's pretty much just like looting the entire economy and taking the economy hostage. So like if Tesla doesn't do well, then everything else doesn't do well, and then it's a really shitty situation. And then people think that like crypto is some kind of like a hedge against the market, but this is how I proved like multiple times over with those demos that they would both crash. That once the market crashes, crypto will crash at the same time. And there's no like hedging your bets in crypto at all, because the source that has been keeping the market afloat artificially has been momentum trades in crypto, washing back and forth between the crypto and the actual stock market. So we stopped this free fall. So we're gonna get a rise right now. I might have to go visit Doge again to recruit more momentum, and then from there we could cause Tesla to recover. It's not really anything I'm personally interested in. I don't really actually care. It's just meant for demonstration. Go and show your FBI, buddy, because this is something that I really don't appreciate, and I don't really know what else to do about it. In the middle of like, obviously when people are actually trading, it does hesitate because people are actually in the middle of buying things. And so let's say you are buying Tesla right now, then it will drop its price for you a little bit. Just so that that's just typical like sandwich botting, just so that it takes the extra bit before. So while Tesla's low, the algorithm has it basically play a teaser script that it's psychologically it wants people to invest in it while it's low. But even though people do invest in it while it's low, what they don't realize is what they're doing is they're building this thing here. It's just being washed back into LTC, and the LTC uses that to replenish the circuit of all of the chips that are relying on the LTC pipeline, or all the stocks, that are relying on the LTC pipeline. So they all move in tandem. I have some more repair jobs to do in a little bit, but it's just like a little fun demonstration. It's fun. Kind of have to adjust the rate of it. One of the primary things, and I prefer people figure out their own way of doing it, but like I have a whole course about how to do it, and I don't want to like publish too much information about that right now, because like it's kind of a one-time thing. But one of the main things is pretty much like you don't want to act like a bot. So you want to add a lot of CAPTCHA checks to make all your bot actions seem like they're human. And to do that, you basically just create you basically run it through music. So like that way as your actions cascade, it actually ends up being like not like exactly, you know, just one after another. So yeah, pumping up the LTC, getting the Tesla back to me. Yeah, but see, the 1-to-1 correlation is falling. But here's what's funny. Here, let's go ahead and just get, I'm gonna let it go ahead and stabilize. Anyone who invests in Tesla right now will cause Tesla to drop. It's all a game of poker. And that ends up being funneled back into LTC, and it just creates, and the momentum trading gets traded around to cause everything else to follow suit. And that's why LTC barcodes as it does. So you could see where I caught it at its free fall, which was about right there. So it took a little bit of time to get it to reverse. But the steepness of the angle, there, I got it back up to green. I mean, the system's meant to crash in a sense where money is meant to actually be diverted out of LTC. That's the whole entire point. So once LTC gets back up to its original floor levels, then you'll see Tesla recover. But especially during, like, you know, actual trading hours, there's a little more noise in the system. I just want to get Tesla to be solid back up, and then we're gonna go do a check of all the other chip stocks as LTC barcodes. I'm not invested in any of these things, by the way, so this is all just white hat. It's for informational purposes only. Usually I make an announcement, and then so I get other people to help me too. But this time, you don't really need others to help you. I mean, everyone could be as many people as they want on the internet. So I'm just gonna go and lift this up and keep it so that we get a stable rise in Tesla. And a lot of it's about drawing the chart, you know, getting people like psychologically to believe that's going to rise. And then that creates stability. And that's the funny part about it, is that we draw the charts. See? See the correlation now? Now I'm going to stop. And I'm going to add a little bit of a wrinkle. Here, I'm actually going to add a tiny little bit of a wrinkle just for my own purposes. Yeah, see that little wrinkle right there? Yeah, that's just for my own little like signature. And I'm going to continue letting it go up, back up. So that's my little mark right there. While I was heading up, that we could use to analyze it later. But from down here, check this out. Without even checking, we could tell that the same thing's happening here. See? We could tell the same thing's happening here. And I swear, I don't even bother checking anymore, because like I showed you in the original chart, it's not a surprise. Hey, I'm actually a little bit surprised with this guy. This guy went up a lot more than the other guys did. But he still followed the same original trajectory. So Intel, huh. But then NVIDIA, see? And then we got Taiwan Semiconductors. And you're gonna see the same thing here. See? So catching the knife here, fighting, and so you catch the knife here, and then just playing tug of war with it until it rises back up. This thing actually like did a sharp drop before it drew back up, so that was probably where the main weight was coming from actually, because TSM is actually like, you know, a major big stock, and to move this thing, you know, it's like to move a lot. But yeah, we go back to Tesla again, and you can see how like so you can see that. See, remember the little mark I made right here? What time is that? So as I was flying up, I decided to create a little wrinkle right here. That's 7:03. This actually isn't very clear, but if you go to a different chart, you can kind of see it a lot more clearly. But yeah, 7:03, it would be like about right there. But yeah, you can see the one-on-one relationship. This thing's heading back down, but let's go ahead and pump it back up. It was really trying to head the other direction. I wonder why. It really seems like it needs to do. Oh, yeah, it's actually reached pretty much the same level as. Yeah, it's close enough to basically being where it was that it could be back to where it would be if it wasn't being manipulated. You see what Tesla did? So now I'm catching the knife on Litecoin and drawing it back up. And you'll see a reflection in Tesla. It's just gonna like pop up all of a sudden. Yeah, so I caught the knife on Litecoin and managed to bring it back up. And Tesla should be responding, and as soon as the circuit passes through, it looks like TSMC is actually where a lot of the drama is happening. Since that's such like a massive stock that it's actually causing like the whole entire thing to lag. So yeah, just bring LGC up and you'll see Tesla pop back up. And it's what's funny is that it's really the force that's being applied while you're drawing the charts. See how high Litecoin went? But then it gets looted anyway. So that's why I ended up dropped back down again. And that's how the watch sales work. And that's how the money gets added up. And so I'm still drawing Litecoin up, and it's adding up to be able to afford to inflate Tesla and chips. So by dragging up Litecoin, you could drag up Tesla. And this is like very, very ripe for abuse. But what I don't like about it is all the demos I did, I do them as a crowd demo, and we would announce it a day prior just to keep it fair for all parties. It's kind of like outside trading, you know, so that way it's like. But what was futile about it is that no matter what, the more money you have, the more you benefit from what we do. So like, if you're getting a heads up that, you know, anything we're doing is gonna happen, then people just pretty much played our movements, knowing that, you know, that we pretty much have like 100% like certitude. And mind you, I'm basically just doing this myself right now. So I'm actually causing the system a lot of chaos by just kind of going up and down, like just whenever I want to. Yeah, so as soon as Litecoin looks like it's comfortable, I'm gonna bring it back to the green. I think I'm gonna stop. Okay, I'm gonna stop and just, you can watch what happens from there. There, I let go, and it's back to just, I guess, what, autopilot, we'll call it. So now, without any guidance, it's just kind of doing what it does. And no matter what, the program is meant to maximize profits by just doing arbitrage wash sales between Litecoin and Tesla, and it basically, from my analysis, is just holding all the other stocks hostage so that people don't think that the other stocks are better. It's all just marketing. So they keep the bots keeping Tesla perceived as if it's one of the chip stocks, one of the tech stocks, when it's just, supposed to be a car company. And it has the extra advantage of, if we wanted to, we could actually just crash Tesla. But if we did that, it would crash a lot more than Tesla. And I don't think anyone really dares to do that. Last year, when we stopped Bitcoin from dropping down to BTC, we stopped Bitcoin from dropping down past 30G. It was a way of just revealing pretty much like who was gaming the system by causing a sudden crash. And we actually chose, the reason why we chose that day was actually because it was, what was it called? A double witching day or something like that. I don't know much about stocks, but it was something that, people considered significant, so that's why we chose that day. And then we had to manage it to make sure that BTC wouldn't fall below 30G for a few days after that. Because, like I was saying before, if you actually do allow BTC to crash, the entire economy crashes. So we set a line at 30G and insisted to everyone to keep 30G as the limit. So yeah, I'm not doing anything right now at all. So you can see that Litecoin is healing. We set it back to where it was, which is typically what we do, because we don't like to actually manipulate the market. So typically we turn everything back to where it was. And then you can see that Tesla is trying to rise back up again. But still, right now, it's in a Dutch auction style. So whenever it's actually in the red like it is right now, anyone who actually buys Tesla will cause a boost in Litecoin. And anyone who buys Doge will cause a boost in Litecoin. Or you could just manipulate it. Man, it usually doesn't you can see how it follows. Usually I see more plateaus. The plateaus make it easier to read. They've done a good job of hiding, because before you would actually see those peaks. You would actually see those peaks literally become like plateaus. Like, you could literally see things being stolen. There you go, interface restored. But do you see how they move in tandem? It's hard to tell because I'm looking at the stretchy graph, but let's go and click on the day graph. Remember that wrinkle that I made right there? What is this? 703? Right about there. If you go and check on another chart at 703, you'll see the impact of that wrinkle at 703. See, you can see the corresponding wrinkle right there. See it? So it's an easy way to mark things. Like if you are pumping something up, you just quickly like put in a huge stall, essentially, just to kind of like track. Sometimes I actually sign an N. So Tesla is starving right now for attention. It wants you to buy because it looks like it's low. But all these charts are bullshit. LTC is on autopilot right now, unless someone else is gaming it. Doesn't seem like it, because it was pretty responsive to what I was doing. It's much easier outside of market hours to manipulate crypto because you're not having to, like deal with all the noise of the actual market. But that's why crypto moves in sync. There's no real reason for that other than to hide. And that's why the stock market is starting to behave like they're all crypto. Is because they're basically just puppet mastered by crypto. I don't know what would happen about it if I pushed it down below 5%. Probably cause like a news bot to pop up and explain it. This is what it says. Any news bots that appear? Yeah, so it generates all these like fake news stories to explain what's happening, and people just read them and believe them. And you'll see corresponding news stories here somewhere. See? Actually, no, I didn't pop up any stories here. Huh. Actually, yeah, I didn't really move LTC that much. So yeah, check the wrinkle at 7:03. Today's date is, should I watch? January 5th, 2022. So it looks like it's reaching equilibrium again, and the two will start moving more in sync. When it's on autopilot, it's just going to be patrolling all the stocks and keeping them moving in sync. It's not even Elon Musk that's really the issue. He's basically just the Ronald McDonald of this all. It's Alphabet that's actually really behind this. But Elon Musk has his goons, and he, is willing to be the front man. Like ever since Steve Jobs passed away, it kind of created a vacuum, kind of almost like Andy Warhol passing away, created manuaIiing. Tesla's in free fall again. Should I bother and catch the knife again? What's funny is that you could basically boost the entire economy by going towards BCH. BCH is actually an easier way to get to BTC. Let's see a bit. There we go. So by driving BCH up, it'll drive BTC up as well. It's much easier to target BCH if you want to move BTC, because BTC is just too big. But they have to follow each other anyway, so if you move BCH, then BTC will follow. So I'm catching the knife with Tesla. Knock on wood, since I don't want to get killed. So I'm pushing the entire market up right now, actually, because if you move BTC up, that actually causes the whole entire system to go up. Because BTC is like, the only reason why it's being kept around is that it's like the master laundering mechanism. So it's like the most powerful one. And this is actually a secret I'm just sharing with you, but while most people attack BTC, it's actually much easier to attack BCH. You get the same results, just like with Doge and Litecoin. See, caught the knife and caused Tesla to go back up again. And doing this right here is technically healthy for the economy, which is kind of stupid. This actually causes a generalized, widespread rise in the economy, which then gets looted out of BTC. Like the times that we crashed BTC in the past has always been with other people's help, while a smaller group attacks BCH, because that's really what the main target is. Because we don't want to reveal to too many people like how to do this, because it's obviously like pretty it's a lot of stuff, you know. I don't know really what to share with who, but I only share like information with who I really trust. But yeah, see how much more powerful this is? You don't want to do this one too much, because I definitely don't want to like sponsor terrorism. So I would rather BTC not actually go up, but pushing BCH will cause BTC to go up, and doing so causes the whole system to pretty much go up. Like all the BTC pretty much stands for all the blue chips. Alright, so let's stop. So I caught the knife twice already with Tesla and drove it back up. And now it's just on autopilot again. See, so now like Tesla's just hanging there. Much doing what it was doing before. So you could control each of the stocks one way or the other. Like there's always one way or the other, because they're all like in a flow pattern that is mapped out, and I have the map for it. And I try not to like let other people like know exactly how everything's interconnected, because that's pretty much crucial. And see, once you like let go, it starts falling again. But yeah, like if you know all the flow patterns, then you pretty much know how the whole entire system works. And one way or another, you could do anything you want. And I'm pretty sure that's not how the stock market is supposed to work. See how BTC is starting to curl, and Tesla is now starting to curl. If you want, like, yeah, more detail, you could go ahead and use my time markers. See how like they both flip down like that? But I like, like I was saying before, I like Robinhood because it has a WYSIWYG interface. You can't zoom, you can't scale, so you can't find patterns like just by like zooming and scaling, like everyone does. And they pretend like they know what they just interpret the lines, which doesn't really tell you anything. Especially when, I'm showing you how you could just draw the lines yourself. But the fact that there's locked access makes it so it's really easy to track what you're doing, since you can't actually manipulate the charts, like, as far as artificially. You can only really actually manipulate the market, oddly enough. So it's much easier if you have the ability to manipulate the markets. Then why manipulate the actual charts? No need to zoom, no need to scale. You could just see it. Yeah, so Tesla's going back down again. Should I just give everyone a happy day and just go ahead and push Tesla back up again? There's a maximum cap to BTC, which kind of is a moving target. Because obviously, like, you know, people have sell limits and stuff like that. So yeah, let's get Tesla going back up again. Let's get back into the interface. Yep. Catching the knife. Not using any money. Just using their money. And doesn't know what to do because it's not used to people just fucking around with. Basically, what we're doing is we're just hijacking their bots. It's not very much different than, like, I don't even think this is illegal technically. I mean, like, it's not very much different than, like, scoring tickets on, like, flights by, you know, hopping around buying tickets from different locations to, like, manipulate the scalper bots. This is exactly the same thing as manipulating scalper bots. The saying I usually use is that, like, a champ Pac-Man player knows the rules of the ghosts and realizes that Pac-Man controls the ghosts. So when you play Pac-Man, you actually control the ghosts while you control Pac-Man. And the same rules apply here. When you're messing with the bots, you're actually playing the bots. So where Tesla wants to fall, I'm driving it back up by using BCH to drive Bitcoin up. Like I was saying, there are sell limits on Bitcoin, especially right now with it being so low. So it actually gives you only a certain amount of wiggle room. If I recruit more people, then we'd be able to overwhelm the system and do whatever we wanted to do. Because one of the benefits to this is that it's really more of a matter of sharing the information of how the flowcharts work, and then everyone approaches it their own different way. So there's no way to tell. If I had everyone, you know, obviously do the same thing, then it'd be pretty easy to stop. But when everyone's doing it their own different way, and I'm doing it my way, then there's no real way to stop the crowd. I can't believe how much we fucked Tesla today. We've done much worse. But then we brought it back. Most of what we've done in the past have always been like just trying to aim for stability while trying to, you know, demonstrate to others how it's a scam. I mean, it's these relationships that proved that, like, you know, 3 years ago, which is what I posted like 3 years ago, I can't believe that. Like, when I figured out that these connections and realized that both these markets would crash at the same time. because they're all interreliant. I called it hyperspeed musical chairs. So slowly dragging BCH up, and there's resistance at BTC, I'm sure. Heard lots of sell-off happening over there, but either way, persistence is the key. This one here, like I was saying before, causes a generalized upswing in the entire market. We go back to targeting LCC, which is a lot more specific to our target. So you would bounce back and forth between targeting LTC and targeting Doge. So dragging this back up. See how quickly the direction is? Because this is a direct line, whereas BCH isn't a direct line. BCH actually controls the entire economy. So the relationship between Doge and LTC is the same relationship between BCH and Bitcoin. BSV, no one invests in that. That's basically just like their slush fund. Like BSV is pretty much just like do you know anyone who invests in BSV? I don't know why it exists. Besides that, it's just meant to pretty much like be a cash store. Like it's meant to be a way to barcode, like almost like a router essentially, because everything passes through BSV when necessary. So BSV is actually the hardest one to game because it moves the most reactively and it reacts most like volatile. There's actually a reason why BSV is the hub, and I could explain that to you like in another place, in another video. But see how like as I'm dragging LTC up, Tesla follows. You can see like the same shape. It's even much easier to see if you do this. So you gotta remember when I started. We started with a free fall, like where the first sharp corner of Tesla was, and then we just kind of kept manipulating it up and down. This is actually higher than the floor, I think. So I'm basically just pulling the brakes on Tesla so it doesn't fall by driving LTC up. which is ultimately against the interests of like everyone, really. But again, I'm just doing a thorough, like, non-stop demonstration. So look, surprise, LCC isn't, Tesla isn't falling anymore. So let's drag LCC up a bit more. Probably gonna stop right at the squiggly line there and let it take over from there. Yeah, it's done. I'm gonna add a little squiggle there. Let's see. I'm gonna go to Doge. Okay. What should I do? Doge up. Doge is actually very sleepy right now. So this one will take a bit more time. You can see like the flashing. So should this view. Alright, let's get Doge back up. It's relatively high actually. I'm most likely just feeding LTC right now, but you can see how I'm dragging Doge up. And that should create I'm basically just building momentum that could be stolen from. Yeah, but steering this vessel doesn't take much. Like I said, by default, by drawing Doge up, you're also drawing LTC up. Oh, there are the see, remember I was saying like you stop seeing the spikies, you start seeing the plateaus. That's what I was talking about. That's theft. Like this right here would be a spike, a peak, but instead you can see how it was arbitraged away right here. See? That's what I was talking about as far as like how when things are actually stolen or arbitraged back to LTC, it takes the peak and you end up with these plateaus. And now I can just hop back over to OTC. And expect a boost. There's the boost. But you can also see the spikies, and then the same plateaus. That's what gets stolen. That's the arbitrage. Caught the knives too many times, I think. But you can see how the money from Litecoin is being arbitraged away by how suddenly, instead of seeing peaks, you see plateaus. And those plateaus is actually money being taken out. And it usually just exits the economy. And that's what kind of sucks about this game. It doesn't really help anyone. So those plateaus don't even necessarily feed back in. Those plateaus are often just cash out. Like ways of getting around taxes. So I'm just slowing the descent of Tesla. But ever since the fall, it's been pretty much at free fall if I don't do anything, which is pretty funny. Yes, fuck it. Let's just let it play out by itself. There should be a few more. So let's see. And so I'm not doing anything right now at all. It's just on autopilot. And like Tesla is feeding off of Litecoin. So it's pretty much turned the whole entire game into the point where like what people actually buy doesn't even matter. The prices are already predetermined by just bots that watch sale between the market and crypto. Like whatever you buy is just meant to entice you through the way the graph looks. I like kind of like bugging with it, but it's kind of pointless. That's why I kind of give up on it. it was fun to sabotage like pre-planned things, but as far as like trying to stabilize the economy, it's like who's trying to be the economy's babysitter here, you know? Especially when like everything's just like programmatically stolen when no one's doing anything. That's just the default. And yeah, they have to know what they're doing because like I'm tempted to just floor it right now, but I don't want to do that. That's actually not, I'm not doing anything right now. But if I were to floor it, I would know that it would cause Taiwan Semiconductors, Nvidia, Intel, and all of the other chip stocks to fall as well. And Tesla would just seem like, you know, oh well, it's just one of the chip stocks that fell with it. Even though Tesla is not a chip stock, really. You know. But yeah, if you analyze the relationship between like Litecoin and Tesla, you'll see exactly why whenever we do demos, it's always Tesla and those same chips. And the way they move in sequence is pretty obvious. See how it just shifted? Let's see if it goes back into free fall. Nope, it goes back up, and Tesla goes back up. So right now, the bots here are playing a game where they're just pretending to have a discount there for you. If it wasn't for any sort of like tomfoolery here, it would just be a straight line down, just looking really, really tantalizing to most buyers. But because, you know, by just multiple times stopping it, it causes weird little like fire flare here. And now it's just resuming its normal program, which is to try to tantalize people with a false discount that's only meant to be transferred back into LTC and then looted. And that's why it's pretty clear to me that it's actually Alphabet who's behind this. It's because who created LTC. There needed to be a competition against BTC. And, you know, at the same time, it's